We are here. Okay, good evening, everybody. We will start the meeting. This meeting is being recorded and will be rebroadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access channel. In accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the administrator must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make their presence known. Seeing nobody. Meeting will be replayed via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access Channel, live video on demand archives on the Town of Barnstable's website. Okay, we'll start with a roll call.
Nina Coleman, Park Manager. Maureen Piccioni.
Rich French.
Bill Monroe.
Phil Carey.
Tom O'Neill.
Chris Clark, Town Council Liaison.
Okay, thank you. So like the October minutes, anybody have any comments or additions or subtractions or discussion on the October minutes?
Actually, I did. I came late. I'm sorry. To the last meeting, when you had the discussion about terms that people have been on this board. And I know I've been on the board longer than you, Rich.
Yes.
And you were at 27. You were at 27 years, and I'm down for 25. I just don't remember how long it's been, but I know it's
It happens when you
longer than
age.
Rich. Yeah.
I will
It does
remember my
happen.
time.
Well, it's too late because I already made the town council presentation, so.
Oh, well, if you want to have this be accurate, I mean, Cynthia Lovell should know, right?
Well, you were just getting
With the
general.
I wanted
The
to,
town clerk.
I just used it as an general discussion.
You're not
about-
getting a retirement fee based on
Yeah.
that.
Well,
today,
that's
so-
what I was hoping
This will not be for
for.
your pension.
You just want a low sticker number.
Yeah.
You get those?
Again.
I'm gonna have to have a cut talk with him afterwards.
Oh, she
It's
just
about
gave me a
your
nasty.
memory. And when you get older, your memory goes, there's so much stuff up
Why are we here?
Yeah,
Okay,
good morning, yes.
Good morning.
all right, let's go back to business here. Chris, how are you?
Good, how are you?
So how do you want to handle
So,
that, I guess? I mean, it's inaccurate in the minutes, so it probably should be corrected, but I don't have the exact
That
number.
Well,
we-
you were the one that stated that in the last
Yeah.
time.
I couldn't remember. I said I know it's more than.
I move to
20.
correct the minutes to show that Mr. Carey has an excess of 27 years on the board.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Second.
That'll work.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. How about the rest of the minutes?
Move the minutes as corrected.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Motion's passed. Okay, just real quick notes from the chair. I did, as many of you know, there's been a bit of a change. The town council is asking all the chairs of the various boards, committees, I think there's 40 some odd, Chris, something like that, to come in and do a town council presentation. What they've tended to do is kind of match up a regulatory committee with an advisory committee, just to spice up the evening. So I was there last Thursday night along with the water committee and the
The Water Board and
CPP.
Community Preservation Committee.
Yeah. So it was an exciting evening. It was actually good. I mean, I think it's good to we do these annual reports every year. I think they go into a book, and I'm not sure who sees them really, but it gave the town council, I think, a chance to really have a little bit more engagement with the with each of the chairs. I just kind of went through, I kind of used the format that the committee to study committees is using. So I just talked a little bit about composition, where I figured if they're going to use it, we might as well. Talking about composition, and that was where I used the example of both the diversity of this board, a couple of unique features to this board. One is that we're all users. I mean, everyone on this board is a user of different
Oh, they
types.
used me.
Of the, we have hunters, we have campers, we have day trippers, we have just about every facet. Plus, like I said, somewhere around 105 years of experience on the Sandy Neck board, subject to Bill's amendment, might be 106. But so it's quite a diverse group in terms of background experience. So I was making that point, which I talked about functionality. How does the board function? Do we have quorum issues? Do we have attendance issues, which we generally don't? And also under effectiveness, I did talk about two things. One is our role in the project that's going on now. I didn't really spend any time on that because I think everybody's aware of what's going on in that. But obviously, it was a complex project with a lot of parties, and I made that point. You know, we had all kinds of involvement. Obviously, Nina's team, consultants, you know, the town, DPW, everybody had to play a role, and Ward did too. And I think we all, I mean, they're building it now, so I guess we did all right as a team, you know, in addition to individually playing our roles. But I also talked about the fees, because I think that was one thing that maybe they weren't that aware of. So I did spend some time talking about the fact that we prepared for the project by putting some additional funding in the, you know, into our reserves, which as it turns out, you know, was really important in terms of particularly the grant gaps that, you know, that we have two grants, both of which required a matching funds from the enterprise account. I think it was $1 million and then 200, something like that. Was it the total, something like that, I think?
$1 million, yep, and
Yeah.
then whatever the debt service fund.
Right. So how critical that was, I told them about the study we did, how we did the benchmarking, we looked at, you know, usage, et cetera. And they seemed a little bit like they hadn't heard that before. I don't know whether they had or not, but it seemed like it was new to them, and they seemed impressed with, you know, the work that we had done there. So, and you know, it put about $500,000 a year over 5 years on our bottom line, if I remember the numbers correctly. About $100,000 a year, which is about under 10% of our budget. So, you know, not too bad. Anyway, then I just finally, yeah, I think that was more or less it. I think it was only, I think I did 8 minutes, so it was a little bit over the
Well, I think it was
allotment.
helpful to talk about the relationship with Sandwich, and,
Yeah, I mentioned that without getting into it too deep. I said, you know, just said I'm not going to get into it too deep, but there is another potential opportunity there with Sandwich, and I'm going to keep dropping the bomb until somebody, you know,
Cuts off your
either
head.
tells me to stop or we'll do something about it. But we are, I didn't even tell them this, but we are, you know, preparing the data to try to back up what we think is happening there, and then we can take it from there. And realize that it's a complicated thing. Towns have all kinds of deals between each other, and this may not be one they really want to take on. I don't know, but we'll present the data, we'll present the risk if we don't do something, and then the town can decide whether it wants to do, and that's our job done, I think, as a board. So anyway, it was well received. I got a couple of interesting questions. Was one person that didn't realize we could ride horses on the beach.
Yeah.
That was interesting, but I think it was received well, and it was a good opportunity to get in front of the town council. Of course, half of whom will not be here next week.
four and 13.
Yeah, right. So it's always a little bit weird in that respect. Okay,
Was that much turnover in the election?
There's still a number of people that didn't.
four people changing.
Precinct 12, 2, 6, and 8. The even number precincts
Yeah.
are up for election.
Right. Turkelson, Schnapp, I think, Mendez, and one more.
Neary.
Neary. So it's a good. The good thing is I can use the same presentation every year. It will be different people.
So this will be an annual
I
event.
have no idea because I mean to get through 40 points, it's going to take a year's worth of.
Yeah.
Yes, town
And to be
council
honest with
meetings.
you, our council schedule, agendas have been so chock-a-block full this last winter into the spring. And then we have one meeting in July and one meeting in August. Those were also full. So the appetite for going longer than 11 o'clock at night is slim. And once we got through September, the agenda kind of lightened up a little bit, so. So I called on the people that I knew. I was tasked
I thought maybe they're
with,
calling all the bad boys.
Oh, really?
I was tasked with lining up the speakers, so.
But I did, you know, I talked about how we work together as a team. I think it's important. I mean, I mentioned Chris, I mentioned the work, you know, how critical it is to have a police department as part of the team. And I also specifically mentioned the MBBA because even though they're not on the team, in fact, officially, how important the relationship is with them and, you know, the work that they do to help the beach. So I wanted to highlight that as well. So if you really want to watch it, you can tune into videos on demand, watch the whole thing. So. Okay, correspondence,
No, sir.
nothing, okay? Staff report.
Do you want me to, this stuff?
Want to just go right into the,
Yeah, they're all kind of
To the
blended right
Concom
now. No, actually, what I was gonna ask is if I should go into the project.
oh, the beach, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they're all,
let's do that.
where's the, how come I always struggle with this? It's the pressure of it. Slideshow, there it is. Whoop, all right, staff report. November 10th, all right, our gatehouse is closed. There's no electricity, no water. Because it's about to be moved, as we all know. It may be moved this week, it may be the beginning of next week, but we are on the countdown. The phone system is still in operation. In theory, it should be forwarding. Donna? Not forwarding. We're gonna work out that bug. This all happened today in the rain, so.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise, put it mildly.
We'll be happy to sell merchandise, just give us an email on the Sandy Neck website, Sandy Neck email. The ORV Beach is open tomorrow, 8 to 4. And then starting Wednesday, it will be closed. So everything is gonna be closing down south of the gate. And this is what we reported to you guys last meeting. And I'm gonna go into all the outreach we've done since our last meeting. But well south of the gate, like down by that first little pull-off parking lot is where there's gonna be a chain link fence across the entire road. And the whole park is gonna be shut down. We're gonna have some signage out on 6A. As many of you who have been at Sandy Neck know, we have a big digital sign. There'll be maybe 3 parking spots if we're lucky, because half of this closure is going through that southern parking lot. So we're really locking it down for safety's sake, right? There's gonna be all that pavement's gonna get chewed up, that gatehouse is gonna be raised and moved. There's a lot of moving parts that are about to happen. The ORV Beach, as I mentioned, may reopen on the weekends once all of the safety concerns are put to bed and buttoned down. We're hoping for December. That's kind of, I wanna sort of say it, give you guys a time frame. The good news is, even if there isn't pavement, those ORV beach vehicles on the weekend, when there isn't construction occurring, can drive through that construction area as long as we have staff on site. So I wrote very, very limited parking. At the gatehouse, really and truly 3 spots. Right now we have 10, 12, and they're filling up on the weekends, and then it's becoming just everybody trying to find a spot, trying to park on the side of the road, talk to Donna, back up, 10-point turn. It's gonna be very, very busy already, and this is gonna make it a lot worse. We're hoping to get PD detail Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, just because it's gonna be all new. It's gonna be a lot of activity going on. So very, very limited parking. Does everybody kind of understand what I'm talking about? I do have an aerial I can show you where that closure line is gonna be. No campfires, as we know.
Can I just ask a question? So it's basically where the road, the Sandy Neck Road narrows down to where the gatehouse is, that you'll have the fence across there.
It's well south of the gatehouse.
Well south,
Well south, so
As you're coming down the hill,
yeah,
on the left-hand side, you've got that gravel parking lot.
Yeah.
First
Okay.
one, before the gatehouse, that gate is gonna cut it like in the middle. So we literally have, like she said, 2 or 3 spots, that's it. Yeah.
Will people try and park on
Oh.
Sandy Neck Road?
It's like Jenga.
yeah.
Well, that's what we need. At least to kind of help us out there, because that road's not that wide there. You're gonna have trucks.
Can we do anything as far as signage on 6A that?
That's what you just indicated. So much has gone out. Nina's gonna explain
I've done a
the
lot.
outreach, a lot. But it doesn't stop people from still coming and asking questions.
The only request I would make is if you were gonna look for police details for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, please do it first thing tomorrow morning, because we're gonna have a hard time staffing.
Okay.
We've got a ton of road work going on throughout the whole town, so the quicker you put it in, the more likely we are to actually get it filled for you.
That's great advice. It was something we decided this morning, and I thought Amber went after it already.
Oh, and if she might have, I mean, I can check before we leave tonight.
Okay,
What's plan B if that doesn't work out?
staff.
Staff with hammers?
But honestly, staff is getting pretty beat up.
Well,
You need
Robert
to give
Robert
them a
Howard.
break. Robert Howard.
Big burly Robert Howard guys down
We'll find a way.
there. The guy we, the guy
It
we-
doesn't quite work that way.
the guy we talked to up at the top of the hill the other night, he sorted out.
Todd?
Yeah, that's all right,
And
yeah.
Todd we trust,
Yeah.
yeah.
In some respects, I think it's gonna be easier because right now people come down the road and often it's open because off-road vehicles are going through, construction vehicles are going through. Even though there's this massive blinking sign that says everything's closed, they're still like, whoop, open, zoom, and they come up to the gate. And so it's like every person needs to discuss this with you. Because this closure is gonna be so far away from the gate and the gate is gonna be under construction or even moved, I think there's gonna be less of that, oh, there's a human to talk to. So fingers crossed on that. Time of year, we have no campfires. We did make a decision that we wanted to stock our pheasant as late into this construction period as possible. So the last stock is gonna be done by the lovely Donna Bragg at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then that's it. Because we really don't have parking, and we can't get people out on the beach in their off-road vehicles. I mean, we're not shutting hunting down, it's just that we're not gonna be stocking, and we don't have anywhere for you to park. So, the extra birds will be doled out to the different sites. So there'll be extra birds at Crane, there'll be extra birds at West Barnstable Conservation Area. The marsh trail will be open and it'll be chain link fenced off. So there is an opportunity for a little bit of viewing there. However, there's no parking, or very little parking. We still needed to provide access to the property at the gate at Marsh Trail, and that's our emergency access as well. A lot of people hike our beach from the neighborhood, and so we needed to still have some sort of free flowing of that. Questions? Okay. All right, we're coming into cold stunned sea turtle season, which we talk about every year. These are Kemp's Ridleys, all those pictures right there. I don't see any greens. I like to play that game. One of these is not like the other, but I don't see one there. So we're prepping for the cold stun season. Anyone interested in volunteering? There is a big program through Mass Audubon Wellfleet, so you're welcome to jump on that, and there's some training that they require. If you do find a turtle anywhere, but on Sandy Neck or Sandwich, we do patrol quite a bit of Sandwich as well. Do not put it back in the water. Move it above the high tide line and cover it with seaweed. Mark the location. So I've had big arrows drawn in the sand, which it works. Stones or whatever, so we can find it and then report that to the gatehouse, or if you're in another town, animal control or natural resources. So we've had, even though it's been super busy, we still have had quite a bit of interaction with young groups of students. Upper Cape Tech, we had harvested a bunch of beach grass prior to some of the dune work that was done, and the young folks planted it in the areas where the walkways used to be, so that there's a big bald area. So they planted some of that. And we appreciate that, and they'll be coming back again for additional plantings if the weather would hold. This was an extremely windy day out of the north, which was delightful. We did trunk or treat, which is usually held at Sandy Neck with the fire department, but of course we didn't have anywhere to hold it, so it was at the Cape Cod Community College this year. So this is our contribution. Keely is our new natural resource officer. She's in that right picture with Frankenstein. That's what that is. And then Keely and Katie Carpenter, who is a shellfish person, natural resource officer, also brought her boat. I think we brought an ATV? We brought an ATV.
Yes.
Yeah. Kids love that. We also had a really wonderful group, Keely again. You can kind of see her wheelhouse here. We had a very large group of art and applied technology Barnstable High School students at the halfway house. You can see they had a great time. We always bring them up to this dune, up to the top of this dune. Sandy Neck is best viewed from up high, and suddenly you get the whole breadth of it. The dune system, the water, the marsh, it's really spectacular up there. So we're looking forward to seeing what sort of art came out of this project. All right, we're on to the project update. So this is drone footage from Friday. Things happening all the time. I know it's exciting and everybody wants to see it. So this is my attempt at giving you an opportunity to see it. So here's your primary dune. This thing, we've been trucking sand in here. It's extremely large. It's married. This is kind of where your parking lot was before, right? Right along that grass line. And now here's where your parking lot's gonna be. So that makes me very happy. So from here all the way to here is dune, primary dune. As you can see, a lot of it's constructed. We removed some plant material before we excavated. So this is some harvested plant material. Going down by the gatehouse here, they dug up the entire upper lot already, or pulverized. I call it asphalt eater, but it's a pulverizer in this whole area. And we're cutting off the nose of that, as you know, making it dune. This is gonna be your access road between the upper lot and the lower lot. And you can kind of see the breadth of the parking lot here. She's starting to take shape. So this is your back dune, your screen dune. And this whole bowl is going to be parking lot, and then down in this lower area is going to be the drainage area. So things are happening. This has been cleared out here, and this is the next place that they're going to be dumping sand is going, and materials up and down through here, through the back, to the right. So that's what's going on there. You can see our spade-foot toad fencing. Oh my goodness, did we install a lot of that? That's everywhere. 300 linear feet, 3,000 linear feet of that stuff. And then closer to the gatehouse, they cleared at the crosswalk right here. This is kind of where your gatehouse is going to be. There's your gatehouse, so she's gonna come up this way, plop in, I guess, sideways. So when they're, from what I understand, they're gonna start raising that gatehouse, have a look underneath, make sure that the measurements are actually correct. So as they're prepping and raising the gatehouse, they're gonna be putting in the footings, so that Bob Hayden, who is a legend, said we need to wait because if you're off an inch, you're in deep trouble. And he doesn't think the
See,
gatehouse
everybody
is
who knows him
perfect.
is shaking their head
Yeah.
too, sure.
Yeah. So,
That's one word.
I thought this would show where the closure is gonna be, but the closure is well past. So if you kind of picture, Bill, along here is staff parking, and then even further this way is the closure. So a couple 100 feet. Before the gatehouse is gonna be that chain link fence.
With the slide before, and I don't know which meeting it was, I know there was some talk of having either a relief or an emergency access to the beach. Is that still in the plans? And if so, where is it gonna be?
All access to the beach is gonna be through the marsh trail. And what I'm gonna do on Wednesday, once the fencing is up, I'm gonna be sending out an email to all the chiefs.
He's asking
I'm talking once the project is
permanently,
done.
once it's done.
Oh, once the project is
The
done?
emergency
Oh, okay.
Oh,
access.
yeah.
You have
Where's
to go
the,
back 2 slides.
any,
Up top, previous,
oh,
one more.
oops, oh my God, Nina.
It's been a long day.
Okay. Yes, thank you for that question. So this is right at the far end here. So there really is, when you get down into this area, you're like right on top of the access trail, so it's gonna be in that far eastern
So
corner.
just go out of the end of the parking lot to the access trail.
Right,
The lot's gonna be really close.
so you
to
can
that.
just zoom straight in like this.
Right.
And then this is much lower down here, and that's where we're gonna have our handicap accessibility mat in that area.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, before you switch,
Oh my goodness.
the, off to kind of the middle of the picture, but to the right of where the parking's going to be, the basin there, the water basin, is that gonna like fill up with water or
Down in
should
this
it?
far corner?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking.
Yeah, so there's been water, there was a drainage swale here and a drainage swale behind the gatehouse that never had water in it. We're talking about sand,
Yeah,
so it's well over engineered, right?
yeah,
So I don't think you're ever gonna have an issue. Do not forget, down the middle of this parking lot is gonna be a rainwater swale, vegetated rainwater swale. So everything's pitched into that, and then if that gets too full, there's an overflow through a pipe down to that far corner. But I think you're gonna be talking about a 100-year storm to really make that any dent of any water down in there.
Hmm.
Because everything is so absorbent.
I mean, it's interesting during the storm tides that we sometimes have out at the cottage colony. When that fills with water, the water stays for longer than you'd think. It doesn't just drain right
Well,
through.
you're right
It
at
does
Here's
sit.
the water table.
you're at the water table right there.
This is
Right, but the tide comes in and out, you
Yeah, but
got,
you still, the
you got
water table's
12-foot
right under that
tides.
sand. Now, with our, up in there, you're not gonna have the water table right at the top.
Must be 15 or 20 feet above the water table.
Right.
And I was talking about freshwater, you're talking about saltwater. So sometimes the big storms do kick water up the access trail because it's sort of a conduit.
Yeah.
So that low area down here could potentially fill up with saltwater. And you're right, it doesn't drain. If the water table's way up, it won't drain.
Yeah.
Any other questions? You can see the zigzag fencing at the top here. This is all gonna be planted. So yeah, same thing. Please have a look at all this fencing. That was not fun.
Nice drone work too.
Oh, it wasn't me. Just quickly regarding outreach, and Kelly spoke about this extensively, but I wanted to reiterate how much effort we're doing in letting folks know. So the town distributed a new meter release detailing the anticipated start of phase 3, which is this full closure. Set to begin Wednesday, November 12th. I don't know, we had the date wrong we thought it was the 11th forever. For some reason, we thought Veterans Day was Monday. Shouldn't it be Monday? But it's not, it's Tuesday.
It's never changed off the
Completely, it
Yeah.
must be,
11th day, 11th hour, 11th minute.
sorry.
Sorry?
So phase 3 includes relocation of the gatehouse. This work will require a temporary closure of the ORV trail. May open weekends in December, which I already spoke about. The marsh trail will remain open to foot traffic only via a pedestrian detour, which is gonna be all blocked off so people can't get into the work zone. Access updates will be posted on the Sandy Neck Beach Park website. Right on that front page says this is all happening, and we'll be updating that. Barnstable Water Resources and the town My Barnstable mobile app. We did send out a My Barnstable mobile app notification this morning, which goes to many of our off-road vehicle folks. That's where we provide them information about beach closures. So I'm assuming quite a few people are aware of this closure. Cape Cod Times is working on stories detailing the latest construction, which we're expected to be posted this week. Construction updates are posted to the Story Map project website, which I provided everybody links to. This is just a really, really good document. We're trying to channel everybody into one location, and that's our website. So our website's posted right in the front, and then there's a link to this story map, which gets deeper into what we're doing, why we're doing it. Barnstable Water Resource has a weekly newsletter and they did a posting, and they're gonna do a future posting as well. We have communicated directly with cottage owners via email. We continue to update Barnstable e-news and My Barnstable app. So when we are able to reopen on the weekends, we'll do an app posting at that time. And we will continue with social media highlights of the town of Barnstable and Barnstable Water Resource accounts. So, is everybody on the town of Barnstable Facebook pages, those of you who are on Facebook? Yeah, so it was posted, I think, last week. And we'll continue to do that as well. So the thing about this day and age is there's so many ways to get information out, there's too many, right? So we're trying to draw everybody back to the website.
I'll send out something to the neighborhood too, so they're all up to date.
The neighborhood talks to Donna every day.
Yeah, but not the whole neighborhood, it's
Oh, yeah.
Two or three.
The whole neighborhood.
it's 2 or 3 people that want dogs.
We have a lot of folks and they spread the word and, yeah. Sandwich seems to have an issue, even though Barnstable sent a bunch of stuff, they seem a little unaware. So we have a lot more FaceTime with them, explaining, what's going on.
They have been receiving the press releases. I reached out personally to the director of the recreation department today, asking her to distribute the information. I don't know if they have an app or an email list, but I let her know that there are a lot of sandwich folks that aren't aware of what's going on and are justifiably frustrated.
Is it off-roading people or beach parking people mainly?
Parking.
Beach parking,
Yeah.
because we do communicate with the
Yeah,
off-road
that's what I
folks.
was thinking.
But it's beach parking and we say, I'm sorry, it's closed, and they said, is it underwater? Like, no. So obviously we have to, we're trying to give as much information as we can. And the first question is, when's it opening? When it opens, it's gonna
Well,
be
just refer
beautiful.
them to the website.
Yeah. And we do, we tell them to go to the website.
So overall, I would say pedal is still way down on this project. I really like that Robert Auer is taking the approach, like, let's just get as much done as we can before the weather shuts things down. I think moving the gatehouse and getting Donna all set back up is a good move. Everybody wants to keep Donna happy.
Please.
And we're not sure if we'll be able to get the parking lot paved before the weather window shuts. But that would be like best case scenario.
When do they shut down the asphalt plants?
I think it's temperature driven.
Yeah,
But
it's probably December, right?
Usually mid-December, but it's temperature driven, and if they have a bunch of projects going on, which they do, it can stay open longer for that as long as they can keep the temperatures high enough. And I believe there is one plant off Cape that stays open pretty much year round, but you're trucking at that point. And with asphalt, the goal is to keep it as hot as you can.
Yeah.
Look, predicting a mildish winter, so if that means anything.
Yeah, but the other thing too, you have to realize at some point, every plant has to shut down for a period of time, probably close to a month, just for maintenance.
And they'll do that in the winter.
And they'll do that in the winter.
So that concludes my report.
Okay, any questions on the project or anything keeping you up at night on the project at this point in terms of the project plans?
It's
On time, on budget?
honestly, it's all little devils in the details, so nothing that this board needs to worry about. It's like just the list that Donna and
Yeah, it's a big.
yeah, it's a lot of figuring out all this stuff. But I think overall, we're doing remarkably well, and we're further along than I thought we would be.
Yeah, me too, yeah. We just have to zig sometimes and zag other times.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking more of big stuff, not obviously thousands of little things that happen in your favor and against you during a project.
Well, you asked
but,
me what was keeping me up at night.
Yeah.
Answering honestly.
It's all those little things.
It's that and this access piece, but I really do think, as I said before, that once we shut this down, it's this partial opening that's kind of
Yeah.
madness, really.
Well, I don't know what you could do to communicate it any more fully than you have, so. You're always gonna miss some people, but I'm not sure what else you could do, really. doing everything.
Wouldn't you think the town of Sandwich would do something more aggressive like we're doing for our website? You know, that they would post something very similar to what we're posting. So that people, I mean, there's gotta be probably a bunch of people, a number of people from Sandwich that think that Sandy Neck is the town of Sandwich. So they're probably going to their own website for the town of Sandwich, and if they had something there, then at least they could.
Yeah, I've not looked into their communications, really, because we have enough going on, but like Nita said, we don't know if they have an app. We don't know if they have a weekly e-newsletter like Barnstable does, which is great. We don't know what their resources are. But, you know, reaching out to them is, again, it's usually ends up on a one-on-one, and they have no idea of even doing anything.
I mean, I assume that some of them read the newspaper, and
We would think, yeah, but,
Right.
yeah.
it's been all over the papers.
I would just hope that the electronic signboard at the end of the
Yeah.
road might give them a hint.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna put, I don't think we're gonna be able to put that at the end of the road.
It's gonna be me in a sandwich board walking
I mean, I'm
back and
trying,
forth.
but there really isn't a spot, and it's up to the town of Sandwich, we're not getting any answers from them. What I am putting, and maybe it will do something or not, but this, like, we have these magnetic temporarily closed signs for on top of the Sandy Neck Park sign. But I agree, a big sign on 6A would be nice, but they probably still come down anyways,
Because they want to see.
they want to see. So we will deal.
Here's your view of the chain link fence.
Okay, any other questions on the project or on the staff report? Okay, Bill, anything you want to add tonight on public outreach?
Something fresh.
And that covers that, so I guess we'll go on to the, you want to just do the board meeting dates for next year, quick, get that over with first, we'll go to the
I
confidential.
was gonna do that.
Yeah, I believe I emailed this out to
Yeah.
all of you.
Yep.
It's always the second Monday of the month, unless it's October, and notice it's the third Monday. So this is our traditional what we do each month. If you guys want to change anything, that's fine, but this is our normal course of the year of where we end up, so just looking for a vote on that, so I can get
I'll
it on
make
camera.
a motion that we accept.
Rich, go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
In years past, you used to send it out so that everybody could have it put on their calendar under the ice.
But I have to, right, I have to get it
Okay.
approved first,
Got it,
and then everybody gets it,
okay.
yeah.
It went out on Outlook, and so unless you have Outlook, it didn't sync up.
Right, if
So
you, right, if you don't have Outlook, you don't,
It won't sync up.
it won't sync up for you, but,
Right.
and you know monthly I send it anyway.
Yeah, right.
All right, so we can get a
I
motion
second the
to
motion.
approve the
So I'll make that motion that we approve the board
Okay,
meetings as
presented.
printed here.
Okay, all in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried, thanks. Thanks, Tom. Okay, let's cover the Sandy Neck report. Has this been already made to Concom now, or pending?
No.
Concom? Pending.
I always do it to you guys
Okay,
first.
thank you.
That's the way to roll.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Does everybody have a copy at the table? Does, I'm not sure if anybody in the audience wants a copy, if you could hand that down to them. All right, so a year in review is where we're at. Required by our 2 sets of orders and conditions, to present this to conservation. It always goes very well, but as I just mentioned, I do it to this board first. Piping plovers, so piping plovers, that top line is your total pairs. That's how we count plovers in the world. And you can see, that we're just, we're going into a new territory here. We had 59 pairs this year. That would have been unheard of 5 years ago. It is down from last year's 65, but it's quite a high number. 376 eggs were on the ground, and of those 73 hatched. That's kind of normal, right? They're laying eggs, they're getting predated, they're taking a second attempt, even a third or fourth attempt. Of those 73 eggs that were hatched, we had 59 chicks fledge. So that's a 1 chick per pair ratio. Technically, you kind of hope for 1.5 chicks per pair, but I think we're still doing quite well. And I take our HCP pairs that we have our take on and do those separately, and they actually have a higher productivity rate than the beach as a whole, just a little bit. So we're still doing good. We wouldn't want no productivity on those birds and then okay on the rest of the beach.
We had a big washover, didn't we? Sort of right in the
Big
middle of it.
washover, we had a lot of predation. I mean, this is normal.
The second nesting attempts coincided with the coyote pups. There was a lot, they saw a lot of pups because that was the time when the pups were out, so that's probably why the predation was a little high too.
What's the average lifespan? Do you know that for?
Nobody knows that. Of a
Is
plover?
the plovers, is if you started with 59, you end up with 59, they live for 3 years on average, or 10 years on average. I mean, that would be a pretty good number, I would think. But I'm surprised it doesn't keep increasing.
It's gotta be pretty short, 5 to 6 years according to Google.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
So is it 5 or
It
6
can reach
years?
as long as 11 to 16 years, but obviously
Yeah,
it's,
that's,
so
there's
pretty imprecise.
there's definitely, statewide, there's a slight trend up,
Mhm.
right? They went onto the endangered species list and they went way up because all of that activity changed. And now we're kind of a little here, but Sandy Neck is a little high. We're a source or a sink for a lot of these. Some of the other beaches I manage, we're losing pairs. But Sandy Neck is building, there's so much wild lands out by the vast majority of these birds are out on Little Neck. And that's just this vast area,
And it keeps accreting too.
and it keeps building, yep. All right, Diamondback Terrapins continued to do amazing, another record-breaking year, we're at 649 nests, it's wild. We're definitely getting females that are coming up twice to nest, so that may be a result of these longer, hotter summers. It may have been happening all along, but we are pit tagging now and we are recapturing females on their second nest attempt. That's very interesting.
What's the issue with a rise in predation? Do you think it's the coyotes?
So the thing about predation for both of these species is we get a smart predator, so an actual individual that there was a few years ago that we had a weasel that had cracked the code on the turtle nests, and so it's just like, oh, they like get trained that this is a way to get protein. This was a lot of coyote predation, so it could be as simple as that. But, you know, this is very typical of predation, is that you have, over the years, you have a up and down sort of,
This was a couple of years ago, we had the orange crates. It was over the nest and they figured out that wherever there was an orange crate,
Figured it out.
they figured it out.
What was it?
they used to put orange, like milk crates over the nests.
Oh,
And
yeah.
apparently the foxes or whatever figured out that if they see
It
an
was the
orange,
weasel.
And the
weasel, if they see an
Free
orange
food.
crate, there's a nest there. So.
Free food.
Or the cages that you used to put over the plovers, right? And the seagulls would land on top of it and jump up and down until they scared them out of the.
Can you do that again?
I think it was more like a crow, but yeah, I agree, we don't do many of those anymore. It was like so great for a while, and then suddenly it was a complete disaster. So yeah.
Alright.
We're continuing our Head Start program, as I mentioned, a couple of years in a row. We now give many of these schools and agencies one turtle instead of two because we're doing so well. So 31 organizations had turtles, wildly popular. I mean, everywhere I go, people talk about these turtles and raising them and releasing them. Terns did a little better this year. 171 pairs of least terns. We're still kind of in trouble with terns. Back in the day, there was 400 pairs in my tenure. So, not doing great. Stranded sea turtles, which would have been last fall and winter, 15 Kemp Ridleys, 4 loggerheads. That's for the whole Sandy Neck and Barnstable Harbor proper, because the natural resource staff that I oversee walks like on the inside, like Scudder Lane and Bone Hill and all that. So 16 at Sandy Neck. And this year I didn't do much wetland restoration, just too much going on, but we did get after some phragmites in freshwater wetlands, salt marsh, and then there was a big stand that was starting up on the primary dune that we were able to attack this fall. That primary dune is not going to be covered in phragmites, it's going to be covered in beach grass. That's the plan. Enforcement, and again, we're gonna do our safety, talk in January, I believe. But with regard to the raw numbers, we had 51 citations, 10 written warnings, 225 verbal warnings, 5 permits revoked, no trespasses, and no dog trespasses. So that's about standard. A little less verbals, a little more citations. That kind of leans towards staff, or if we're having a trend. But overall, then you'll get the breakdown. But it's more speed, higher pressure, and not much alcohol citations. So that's very good. If you want to speak to, you were there quite a bit. What you were seeing on the beach.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that probably since COVID started, the trend with the alcohol violations actually has slowed down. I'm not gonna say it went away, and it probably never will, but I think it's definitely slowed down. I think, as Nina says, the vibe on the beach was a little bit more family friendly this summer, and probably the last 2 summers for sure. We did have a couple of incidents that we had to deal with, but for the most part, even though the people definitely caused an issue, I think they came around and decided to be cooperative. I can say that, let's see here. Like we only had 16 calls for service there, and some of them included security checks. There were only 7 calls that weren't security checks, and we only had 1 PC off the beach this year. So that's saying something.
That is saying something.
Well, as I said in the meeting, a combination of a good team, who's got their act together, good regulations, clear about what we expect, and the backup by the police has really worked to the extent that some of the beaches, haven't seen that, haven't figured out how to make things like that work. So I think there's a lot of credit goes to you guys. Well,
And it's not the trend out in the world.
no, that's what I'm
People.
saying. Yeah.
This is what a lot of people are talking about in other communities, is beaches with bad behavior. So I think we really have locked this down, and we're doing a really great job. Staff is working really hard.
And to piggyback what you said, I think a lot of it has to do with, first I'm gonna give credit to the users. Because a lot of them have been out there for a lot of years, and they sort of police themselves and their neighbors. 2, I think that the staff has established a rapport, a relationship, a partnership with the long-term users for sure, and even some of the people that are just out there maybe every other weekend or a couple of times a month or whatever. and there's been a huge education component to that. So I think that it just sort of spreads to the people that might only come out once a month or once a summer.
Just a quick question maybe for the MBBA folks. What percentage do we know of the campers out there are members of the MBBA as opposed to,
Not many.
really?
I don't know the exact number, but it's not high by any means.
Is there another organization of campers?
Oh, they have many.
No, I don't mean, hey, let's get together,
No,
I mean, is there another formal organization out there that's other than MBBA that actually, where they have campers membership that come to Sandy Neck?
They are the regulars though.
Yeah.
And they definitely have groups that police themselves that have been coming for years and years.
It's interesting, I would have guessed there was a bigger number of the campers would have been MBBA.
All right. Revenue, we had another great year, or we made 1.34 million. So that's awesome. So a little bit lower than last year, but I would say just right on track there. It was a surplus year. It has been every year at Run the Beach, which goes into the surplus account, which we used obviously for either sand or our project. I'm not sure.
I have a couple revenue questions if you.
There's always a ton of revenue questions. I don't know if I need to go through each of these categories.
No,
What
I
do you
just
guys
have a
want?
couple of questions.
Okay, why don't we just go that way?
So just a couple of things. One thing, it's good to see the ORV permits. One of the things I mentioned at the meeting with the town council is that, when you raise fees significantly like we did, you have a risk of customer loss. And I talked to them about, our theory that there was some price elasticity to this fees, and I think this is only 1 year, but really for 2 years in a row since those fees have been in place, the number of RV users has actually continued to go up. So that's good news. Did sandwich revenue go down? I thought that was a fixed amount. Or is that the sticker, people buying stickers?
So beach parking is the hang tags, the $25 hang tags.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about sandwich revenue. I thought that was
Sandwich revenue, there was this 1 year it went up that I don't know what happened there. Oh, they wrote the check wrong. But,
Okay, next subject.
That
It's not
does happen,
It's
and
not
I
a
just
constant
took
increase
it.
except for that.
But you can see it's supposed to go up in
Yeah.
the increments, and there was that one weird year.
Okay. And I've probably asked this question before, but why are the lease fees for the cottages so variable?
So, I have asked that question before. It has to do with they come due
Maybe these guys.
right around June, and that it can fall on either side of the.
fiscal
Yeah.
year.
The leases are broken into two payments. One is due January 1 and one is due July 1. So I would assume it depends on, and they don't all, tell you, personal experience, they don't always come in right there. So they come in later in January, they come in later in July or in August, or they come in early.
Could just be a time.
They move the fiscal year that they come in. I would have to think that that's the reason.
That is the reason.
Because the number should be fixed. It's, I believe, 17 leaseholders or whatever the number is, something like
Yeah, there's
that.
a few cottages that haven't been paying, from what I understand, but yes, it should be, but it's one of the most variable line items. And then there was a year in here too that was COVID and we excused the payment, so that one bounces around.
Really?
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 Wait a minute,
I didn't get that memo.
I didn't get that notice either.
Okay, what's
I want my money back.
okay. I'll do it on
We
that.
haven't gotten to public comment yet. We may not get to public comment. Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be variability in some of this stuff. I just think it's, sometimes that tells a story, sometimes it doesn't, but it can just be timing or something like that. It's easy.
Just remember, you asked that question.
I know. No, it's on tape, too. You can't even deny it. Okay, any other questions on revenue for you guys?
I did have a quick question. Under the ORV permit, there's the asterisk there. And what, there's no reference to it as to why it's asterisk.
Not sure, let me see if that was in last year's, I have that here. Oh, it's just a holdover. I'm not seeing what that was about. My guess is it was from a number of years ago when ORV permit had other fees embedded in it, and there was a time where we started breaking it out. So I think it it might have had a little thing there, but I'll fix that. Thank you for pointing that out.
I did lie, by the way, the actual non-resident permits purchase went down even though the revenue went up, so it's, because that went down 200, roughly 200 non-resident stickers. I made that note, I'm not sure why I didn't pick that up, but the revenue's up. So obviously it is something we have to watch, but the Barnstable revenue stickers went up, which is kind of was partly the method to the madness, was we wanted, to, if anything, favor Barnstable users on the beach. But we just have to keep an eye on it over time. A couple of years is.
That amount of variability.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely something to kind of keep an eye on, but we raised the prices. It's, it could be an extra nice weekend.
Well, that's why you don't look.
It's so driven by the
That's why I
weather.
always say don't look at these things year to year. Look at them on a trend line, because year to year, especially safety records, it's useless. You have to look at it on trends over time. That's the only way this stuff ever makes sense.
If you compared it to numbers of sunny days.
Yeah,
That
right.
would be relevant.
There's so many
Some
variables.
people in business do that
Yeah.
on Cape Cod.
Yeah, you would if you really were, if you're at a $50 million business here, you'd be doing that.
Yeah. You know what, I've brought this up before. I think it'd be really good information if you showed a cash flow number, what that number is that we set aside after all expenses, revenues, all expenses. What's that number that then we put into that capital account, the surplus account?
Oh, yeah.
That would be just a nice number, because that's really ultimately the goal we're
And actually,
looking
the
for.
amount of the reserve, that's not confidential.
Well, it wouldn't be
That's not confidential, I don't know if I printed it out, it just was certified. I can bring that next meeting. I'd be happy to provide that next meeting, although it's December, so,
Just to have it to get into, I think, for the next
Yeah.
report, but just.
yeah, that's fine.
I mean, ultimately, that's our goal, right, is to set enough money aside to keep replenishing the sacrificial sand that we'll have to in the future.
The goal of the project we're doing is to reduce the number of times we have to do the sacrificial sand.
Right. So that'll be.
So that,
that'll be
if
even
the
more
science holds
interesting.
and everything, that you should see that, the need for that go way down.
Yeah, but it gives you money for capital, for trucks, or other things, so.
Yeah,
Staff.
Or you can pay down the debt,
I think I printed it
depending
out.
on how the debt structure.
Yeah, okay, so moving on to escorts, 17,
Quick question, if you
Yes,
don't mind. I know it's short money, but what is that $1,000 for miscellaneous that you never had before? It's just,
that is the, money that we get in the little donations for the air compressor. And I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head if it was in another line item, and that's why it wasn't, taken out in past years.
it's short money, I was
Yeah,
just curious.
But
It
it's,
just pops
yeah,
out.
we do have some donations.
It's pretty impressive.
I've seen 20s in there. I've also seen fun notes that we laminate and hang up. There was a piece of American cheese once.
Oh, jeez.
In the wrapper or out of the wrapper?
Which was nice of them.
Yes, it is.
By the way, Tom did a shout out to Donna for her robust promotion for merchandise at the town council meeting.
Yeah, I think I didn't have the numbers, but I think when I first joined the board, we were doing, I don't know, $6,000 or $7,000 a year, something like that in merchandise. And, I said that we've really significantly increased that. Well, you had a bad year this year, I noticed.
Yeah, terrifying, yeah.
They said, oh,
I mean,
It's
that's
enough
enough
money to
money,
buy a
it's enough money to buy a truck, I guess.
That's what he said.
That's awesome, yeah.
It's a big deal.
That's gross though. So anyways, all right, escorts, I would say we're very successful. We only had 17 escorts. That means Marsh Trail's doing well. People are traveling there as much as possible. Pheasant hunt is presently happening right now. Tent camping, 284 nights. I know last year you guys, well, what does that mean? Last year was 309, so we're right on target there. Campfire permits, 457. Last year was 433, so right on target there. Two-wheel drive tests, 23 tests, 24 last year. Special permits, those are your weddings, your groups, your gatherings, 24 permits. Last year was 35 permits. Donna, just joking.
Let me unskew that
This is
for
actually
you.
your performance review, you
Yeah,
know that?
that's fine. We do a lot of other special permits that we don't charge for, a lot. And we don't include those in there. This is just, right out of the thing of, how many did we sell for special permits? We have, and maybe we need to start counting that because I have seen an uptick, a tremendous amount of user group uptick, and these would be, churches and different organizations, scouts that we don't charge for. But yeah, 24 permits, it really, September, no weddings, that was the problem.
Yeah, there's usually a lot of weddings.
A lot of weddings.
Daily horse permits, 29 permits, and 29 permits, 18 permits. So it went down, but again, we have not allowed horses this fall, and that's a big fall. Right?
Big time,
Yeah.
yeah.
Walks and talks, so 5 with Barnstable Land Trust, 3 with Mass Audubon, same as last year. Beach cleanups, 1 with MBBA, thank you very much. 1 coast sweep, Donna runs, and 1 Cape Cod Commission, same as last year. Junior Rangers, in July, it's the hottest and buggiest, but that's when we do it. Same as last year. Halfway House, 5 permits and 4 overnight, so we are going up from last year. So we're starting to get after that, which is what we've been, one of our goals. And portable toilets, 8 units on the beach.
I did have a question or a statement. I'm just gonna say, you mentioned the Marsh Trail, and I think we owe a great debt of gratitude to the DPW for doing a hell of a job on keeping that trail up, the Marsh Trail up.
Chucky.
They really have done a good job. So I think that should be part of the report.
Well, let me add that staff has done a good job also because they trim back some of the horrifying scratchy bridges and stuff on there.
Yeah.
And, they keep their eyes, and if anything they do a lot more hand digging than you guys would even know. If they run across something, especially, in the summer, that's going to be a hassle for property owners to get up and down or whatever, there's a lot of hand digging goes in. So Chucky lays the groundwork for everybody in the spring from DPW, and then staff is still out there doing their thing.
Last month, there was some, couple of the trails you were suggesting access only by one. Has that gotten any better, or are we
Yes.
still, because it's been wet, so you would think it's gotten better?
Yeah, not only has the wet has helped, but also our staff gets brave and says, we've got to start knocking it down, so we keep driving over there. 5 is great, 4 is terrifying, but it's always terrifying.
It's a great
like
view.
a roller coaster.
It's a great view.
It's a great view, yes, it is.
You get stuck there
Yeah.
for a week.
All the trails have been knocked down as far as, like I said, staff keep going over and trying to break up some of that sugar sand and pack it down, so.
You don't get stuck where the view is great. You get stuck when
Just
you
before,
pass
yeah,
the
yeah.
view, and now I'm looking down, and now I'm just not going anywhere.
Is that
And it's
moment
this
of
way.
terror where you can't see
It is.
anything?
Yeah, it is, you get right up the crop, you go, wow, wee!
Right.
So it's-
Do not do the connector trail though, that is a hard no.
Yeah, that connector trail is a nightmare. It is, and I know that Chucky did a lot of work on that last year, but we just seem to have issues, a lot of the new folks that are cottage owners, children, grandchildren, that type of thing, it was mentioned to me that they need to be spoken to about airing down because they're not. So I said, well, then that's where they're gonna get stuck, is if they're not airing down properly, so.
Any other-
One time.
Sorry. Any other discussion on the staff report or the Sandy Neck report? Okay, I think that's it. I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Sorry, public comment. Sorry. You guys have anything you want to say?
It's Wendy behind.
Okay,
Actually,
sorry, Bill, go ahead.
I wanted to bring up something for discussion. Maybe to think about, and discuss it next go around. But what I was thinking about was having a trail, foot trail, kind of rugged, that would go from the new parking lot that we're putting in, going through the middle of Sandy Neck, all the way out to the cove, out by Muscle Point, out in that direction, and have it go more or less through the center of Sandy Neck. And it would be not for vehicles by any means. It'd be only, 4 feet or 5 feet wide, and it'd be a hiking trail. It'd be kind of rugged, and it'd be beautiful. It'd show people a section of Sandy Neck that most people don't ever see, especially if they're ORV people that just sit on the beach. So, with one of the things that we're mandated to do is try and do things recreation-wise. It'd be a limited number of people, so I think the impact would be fairly small, but it'd be beautiful. And it would go more or less, as I said, through the center of Sandy Neck. And it'd be, going up hills and down into low valleys, and you'd see the cranberry bogs, you'd see the beach plum areas, the blueberry bogs. It'd be quite remarkable. And as I said, there's a lot of thought probably to be put into it because it would have an impact, but I think it'd be a pretty low impact. And a lot of people could use it. You wouldn't have to be someone parking at the beach. You could be somebody parking at the ORV, along the ORV beach, and you could access one of the interconnecting trails and access it that way. So you don't have to walk, of course, the whole area, because that would be pretty rugged for people. So I just thought that would be something
Have you drawn that out
interesting.
somehow so we can take a look at it? Because I'm not familiar with where Muscle Cove is. Not sure
So
exactly
you know
where
where
you're
the
talking
cottage
about.
colony is?
Yeah.
And there's a cove that comes in
Yeah,
next to,
I've sailed over to there from Scudder, but
yeah, okay.
There's no water in it most of the time.
Well, half of the time. So you would go to that point, the
so this is
Muscle
only
Point.
only accessible by people that drive out on the beach.
No, you could park at the parking lot.
Walk 6
And
miles out
walk.
to the,
You don't have to walk 6 miles
Well,
or 7 miles.
I'd be very, very cautious. You're gonna have a lot of environmental impact. You're gonna open up, that trail already exists between Trail 4 and Trail 5, and that's the horse trail.
right.
And it is a beautiful trail, and a lot of people do walk it. And people walk, a lot of people walk, they'll come down Trail 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They'll go along, along the Marsh Trail and make a loop. Campers that are parked over between 4 and 5, there's a lot of walkers that do that trail. When I've had scout groups that are at Trail 4 and I am hosting like a dinner for them or something at the camp, I say, come down the horse trail. And they invariably say, that is a killer. I don't know if it's the ups and the downs or the backs and the forth.
But it's beautiful.
But it's
It
beautiful, but the kids don't like it.
Yeah.
It's a difficult trail for them to walk, so.
Yeah, one of the only issues I see is safety, because every other trail that we have is accessible for staff either by truck or Polaris. So that would be my concern, because people, we see it all the time, Bill, that they think they're better hikers than what they are. We've had several incidents this summer where people have gone down because it's too hot or whatever. So if you're out on a trail that we can't access by a Polaris, then getting to them is gonna be much more difficult and time consuming. So, you see us on the back trails, we're checking out, we're making sure everybody's okay and making sure they're not going off the trail into the wilderness or whatever. But I love the idea, but that would be something, that would be my concern is safety.
I think safety would be very important. I think that, this would be a trail that would be rugged. It's not the Appalachian Trail, but, it's along that idea. We have so many trails all over Cape Cod that are beautiful trails, and they go off into the woods, and you can get lost. It's Jacobs, is that the one I'm thinking? Off of Service Road. There's some absolutely beautiful trails. And this is so unique from any other trail that we have anywhere else. Other than maybe on Cape Cod, you'd think of the trails through the dunes, in Provincetown. But it's absolutely beautiful. It's so incredibly different. And I think it would be a low impact because you're not gonna have hordes of people. It's only gonna be certain types of people that are gonna look for something rugged. And if it's too rugged for them, then they'll turn back after the first mile. They'll just stop and turn around and go
Or
back.
call the gatehouse and we can ask
Yeah, I would exercise a lot of caution for a lot of reasons. Environmental, in particular, if you open up, one of the reasons we do not allow people to walk other than, for hunting or gathering of edible berries
Off the trail.
is because you go off, every time you go off that trail, you create a trail. There are trails behind our camp that haven't been used since 1957 by the cranberry vehicles. And you can still see two wheel ruts 60 years later.
Yep.
So, and sand blows down them and animals use them as well.
Sure.
My father told me that basically when he was involved with putting the cross trails in, and they were deer trails, they followed the deer trails when they opened those up.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, we have 20 miles of trails already. And I think that it's a beautiful idea, but I think it exists in the horse trail, which is very rugged and very narrow. Now it's really just an ATV trail if we drive it. So I think it exists. When you open up trails, it's already hard to keep people on the trails that we have. The minute you create a trail, they're going here, they're all over the place. That's how humans are. So, and I think it would be a pretty extreme permitting project.
That was gonna be my question, what's the cost versus value?
One other point is, one of the scout troops, the Troop 38 from Falmouth, that is a couple times a year. Ed Bruce is the leader, and they love that trip. And they've been stopping by and helping Tracy with some birdhouses and stuff sometimes. And though he says, well, the kids don't like to go over to the Marsh Trail because it's harder to walk. Because if you're walking from back, now we're going to go down to Tracy's and we're going to walk on that. I know it's hard the kids, for whatever reason, would rather walk on the beach. They just want to walk. They want to get the harder, they don't want to walk in the soft stuff. So, there is a, soft sand is draining to
Very much so.
to walk in.
Can we do this then? As I said, I'm introducing an idea. Whenever you introduce an idea that's new, there's always an initial pullback. And that was sort of my reaction as I started thinking about it. I was thinking, environmentally and all these issues. It's gonna be too hard or too impossible to do. I think we have a month to sit on it, think about it, and maybe at our next meeting, talk more about it and see if it's reasonable. I don't think the environmental I think it's pretty low impact environmentally. And as you said, we already have the horse trail between 4 and 5. Is it 4 and 5? Yes, 4 and 5. So what about all those people that don't have horses or don't have ORVs that just would like to have a very different experience, a very different environment to hike through that's like nothing else that you've seen anywhere else on Cape Cod, unless you're talking about maybe in Provincetown, but Provincetown doesn't have the maritime forests necessarily like we have.
So many people walk up those trails, Bill. Since COVID, we've had a huge upswing in that. And I personally don't agree with the fact of that's not gonna be environmental impact, but, you know, that would be something that you guys would have to talk about. Again, my thing would be safety. You know, we know the Boy Scouts are out there. We know they're camping, so if there's any issues, we can get to them. We need to be able to get to these people, not on a walking path. We need to be able, so now you're talking about something wider. You're talking about more impact, so our staff can be out there and patrol. Make sure they're okay.
But there are a lot of places you hike where hiking trails are this wide.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, and they're not worried about people getting them, and but you're on your own, if you're out in the middle of nowhere in some other park.
And, users are also very tick aware, and a narrow trail, tick aware people are not gonna use a narrow trail.
Well, it's poison ivy out there, a lot of
You
poison ivy.
So,
Coming from a public safety standpoint, I get what you're saying, where there's a lot of places, a lot of national parks, whatever, where you're going to do that type of stuff. Obviously, they're a lot bigger, but they also have search and rescue teams. We're talking about a staff here that mostly are seasonal. We have some incredible seasonal people, we have awesome year-round staff, but they're not a search and rescue team. The Barnstable Police Department, the Barnstable Fire Department, the West Barnstable Fire Department, they're not a search and rescue team either. We do it. Having the drones has been incredible, but if you're talking about creating something that is new, I mean, I think there needs to be a public safety consideration with that. And everyone around here, it's not like, all right, you know what, you do this at your own risk. I mean, if you're on Sandy Neck and something happens, you expect to be able to have someone go out there and get you.
Yeah.
That's just the expectation.
Well, I think,
Well, that's our job.
yeah, the other
I
thing
mean,
that,
people do whatever they want and then they get in trouble and it's our job to get them out of there.
well, I mean,
Whether you say they're going out there and they're on their own or not, the ultimate truth is
I think we have
falls on us.
two things going on here in my mind. One is we want good ideas, we want people to bring up ideas, and at the same time, this sort of, for me, falls into the category of park manager decision, as opposed to board. I mean, I think we could discuss it as a board, pluses and minuses, and flesh it out to see whether, we can look, maybe the thing to do is just make a list of, first maybe draw it out as to what you're envisioning, where it would be, because I know the horse trail, I've been out there, but where exactly you're talking about that would be different than that? How would people access it? I mean, that's way out. I don't think there'd be many people who are gonna walk, whatever that is, 4 miles just to get to another path to walk, you know what I mean? If you walk 4 miles, you probably.
well, he's talking about putting a trail further in, maybe you'd pick it up at the access trail or.
But then what,
Trail
all
one or
through,
something,
all
but
through the dunes?
It's very, it would be very environmentally
Wow.
impactful. I think it's a huge stretch, would probably cost a lot of money to even research if it would be permittable, and my guess is it's not permittable.
Well, plus these guys spend a lot of time
That's a
keeping people
guess.
out of the dunes, and this would actually be putting people in the dunes,
Right.
which then means other people see people in the dunes, they're gonna go in the, you know what I mean, it's kind of but I think if you wanna flesh it out more, look at what are the pros and cons that you can envision on this, how would it work, where would it be, where would you see it, map it out? Fine, we could have a discussion.
I
think
wouldn't
this is
be the one to choose how to map it out, that would be your
Well,
job.
roughly, I mean
And then
roughly.
I'm not endorsing that idea, so I'm not mapping it out.
Well.
It's a little bit of a negative there.
I think you have to keep your mind open to ideas.
Oh, yeah.
And then decide, but to come out of the gate just saying, no, I don't like the idea, no, I'm not gonna
Oh,
do
I
it.
Well-
think we gave valid reasons. Mine was public safety right off the top. And even Bill, when you talked about ticks, I mean, that's huge, huge problem anywhere. It was in West Barnstable and throughout the Cape now.
And people are still living there.
No, but they're also, if you talk to doctors and stuff, that the amount of tick illnesses has gone way up.
Well,
That Lone Star.
First of all, this isn't even gonna be a consideration for probably close to, or more than a year because of the project. even when the project's done, getting used to the new facility, all the issues with, getting that sorted out, we wouldn't even be talking about this as a possibility for probably at least a year from now. So there's plenty of time to give it some thought. But I do see this, in my opinion, not as a chair, just as a person on the committee, it seems to me like a park manager decision. And
It's certainly
ideas,
taking
you're
it
right,
in
Bill, there are
smaller
lots of,
bites.
there's always three kinds of ideas, right? Bad ideas, good ideas, and, imperatives. Bad ideas are easy to dismiss. It's the good ideas versus the imperatives that are challenging. This is a good idea, but is it really an imperative and can it work, and does it make sense given all the other priorities? I think that's gonna have to be the decision for the team at Sandy Neck to make more than it is a board thing. We can be a backdrop to that discussion, input into it, and the idea is fine, we can talk about it. But I think ultimately we have to recognize it's probably Nita's decision at the end of the day, because of all the reasons we've talked about.
I think the big mistake would be just say no at the gate. I think you have to look at different ideas and try them out, and either they work or they don't work.
Yeah, this is one you can't really try out. We can discuss it, I think, and see.
Yeah.
Trying it out is gonna cost you $500,000.
Yeah, it's not a tryout thing. So, if you want to do a little more work on it, we can keep it on the
Okay.
agenda. I'm happy to do that for December or
Okay,
whatever.
I'll
We have
put-
time.
I'll put
Nothing's
together-
gonna happen quickly
I'll
here.
put together something, pros and cons.
Just maybe a rough
Put your
idea,
cons.
in your mind as to how it would be mapped out on the, starting from the parking lot, where would it go? Because you do
I mean-
have, 3 or 4 miles before you even get to that forest out there? Through the
There
dune.
isn't that many different places you could put it because, the width of Sandy Neck is, 500 feet at the widest point? It's not.
That's a lot
It's
more
pretty
than
wide.
that.
It's a lot more than that out
Yeah,
there.
I
anyway.
guess.
Between
so-
500 would be
so
about the
you would-
narrowest.
Yeah.
So you would use the drone that they have over at GIS and you'd map it out that way and you would meander it through. So it wouldn't be 6 miles, it would be something very different because it would meander. It's not a straight.
Is it possible, I agree that, to maybe table the discussion and then come back in December with, if there's any more work on it, is it possible that we can agree to do that now?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think this-
And-
But I think obviously the reaction is not being killed, but you can sense from the rest of the group, including the park manager, that it's not something that seems to be being openly embraced. I think you're gonna have to do a little more work to kind of pull it together, give us an outline of the project, how it would work, where it would be, just roughly. You don't have to. But, so you can, illustrate more how this would actually work, what the issues would be. And then we can have another discussion about pros and cons and either decide to kill it or take it forward.
Okay, so I'll move that we move it till the next meeting.
Another move, there's nothing,
Yeah, you
there's
don't have to
no,
move anything.
you can talk to the chairman about getting on the agenda, but
And,
there's no motion on the floor,
Yeah,
so.
you-
We have a discussion, we have a presentation next month anyway. So,
Next month
Yeah,
is
it's
December, there's hardly anything on the agenda.
January is,
January is
safety
safety.
no, December, we've got
No,
guests
no,
that are speaking.
Who's
Yeah,
who's
guest
December?
Owen, it's Friends of Barnstable Harbor.
Oh, okay.
Where he sent that to you and.
I haven't seen anything on that. I was
I
actually,
haven't seen anything in that.
Yeah.
I think I maybe heard you talk about it. We talked
Owen
about it.
Nichols and Peter Oletherock are.
Well, that sounds fun.
You mentioned it to me when we were out doing the cleanup.
Yeah, right.
And I didn't know, I haven't seen anything since then.
Well, I've got names to put on that agenda, that's all I can tell you, so.
Yeah.
I think it would be a great,
We wanted to get them in because they're actually in the middle of a project too, which is, could be kind of interesting to hear about. So will you please get that information to Donna so we can have it on the agenda?
I already
for-
have it,
She has it.
Okay, sorry.
I'm good,
Yeah.
I got it.
So we'll allocate like a half an hour for those guys in December?
I just have to tell them it's been
Half an
put
hour in
off.
December?
I mean, I know he said he'd spoken
And
to
then we'll
you.
put this idea on the tape, and
Okay.
we can just leave it under public, under our general heading of public outreach. Cover it under that. I'll leave it up to you to bring in some more detail on what you think, how you think it would work, where it would go, roughly, just so we can visualize it better. Okay, no public comment? Give one more chance. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks, everybody. See you next month.